I am a little worried about the future of the big upcoming gacha games. I'm going to explain what I mean by that, but I also just want to take a moment to say I'm super excited as well. There's a lot of games that look amazing, and that's kind of where the worry comes from, is potential that might be lost because of formulaic gameplay loops, homogenization of the space in an attempt to chase the success of prior games, which I don't judge companies from doing. And I also think there could be some ones that stand out doing so and are amazing. And what do I mean by that? Before we actually specifically get into that, I just want to say it's great to see games like Anata and Duet Night Abyss attempting to move away from certain systems that we've become used to. Now, it does look like Ananta is going to have gacha in the vehicles and the cosmetics, but still, it's nice to see. And I like the fact that they're moving into, I guess, a more traditional sense of gameplay in Ananta, which I think is a really cool thing. And it kind of sets itself apart and makes itself a little bit more unique within this space. There's nobody going to be arguing that Ananta is a unique game. It's taking lots of ideas from other games, which I am cool with. But I think in this space, it seems quite unique. So what am I worried about? If you didn't know, and you've been living under a rock in this space, there's a bunch of really cool, really expensive, highly polished AAA games coming to this space. Games like Silver Palace, games like Azur Promilia, games like Rewinding Cadence, games like Project 2/3 Utopia, games like Azur Promilia, which I've just said already, games like Arknight's Enfield, and I'm a little bit worried about a good chunk of them. Not so much Arknight's Enfield, maybe because I'm biased and I really like the game, but I think that's doing enough in its combat to separate itself, and a lot of other things as well. But what do I mean about all these games? What kind of ties them all together? It's their combat, and specifically that they all look like they are rotation-based combat games, and it has me a bit worried. These are really cool ways to do combat. Wuthering Waves does a good job of it. Genshin's fine. Zenly Zero's great in that regard. But we've got a few games already, and I'm not saying there's not room for more games with this style of combat. There probably is, and I'm sure some of these games will be amazing. My worry is it's going to be like eating steak every single day. At some point, steak's not so great to eat, and you're probably craving some crap, right? I love steak, but after eating it every day of the week, it's not going to taste so great. It's not going to seem so special. Going to a posh restaurant every single day, it stops being special. You're just eating normally then, aren't you? And if you look at the combat in Silver Palace, we've got 4 units. We switch to the units. I'm sure there's some sort of energy system, which if you look at the UI, it looks like there is, and we're probably going to have some form of their version of how you switch quicker, how that benefits the combat, some form of outro, intro, or something to that degree, and how it's going to benefit you. Does that mean it's bad? No, it looks amazing. Azur Promilia looks like it's got something very similar, slightly different. 3 units on field. You've got these little pet creatures with you as well that add a little bit of something different. Maybe steak with some peppercorn sauce, but it's still steak. And it also looks like Rewinding Cadence is doing something very similar. Looks like they're twisting things in regards to that you pull ults on off-field units into the fight in terms of an intro, potentially. I'm not 100% sure, but it still kind of looks like the same system with a little bit of twist, right? It's steak with, I don't know, mustard, right? A little bit of something extra. Then Project 2/3 Utopia, or 23 Utopia, or whatever the frick that game's called, that looks like it's got something similar, where you've got multiple units, one's on field, you rotate through, and you do your thing. Now, I think Enfield separates itself enough in the sense that all units are on field, and it's more about your chain, your skill chains, and what you build from. And the meta seems really interesting, and I think it separates itself just enough that it, for me at least, that it feels it feels much more separated from something like Wuthering Waves and Genshin than Wuthering Waves is to Genshin, if that makes sense. And my worry is that Project 2 Third Utopia, Rewinding Cadence, Azur Promilia, Silver Palace, NTE, another game as well, are not going to separate themselves enough, apart from maybe aesthetics and setting. NTE's urban. But if you look at the other games, they're still fantasy games where we're doing a very similar style of combat. Haven't really seen anybody talking about this in the space, apart from me, some people in my community, and actually Gacha Smack. I saw Gacha Smack speaking about this as well. He mentioned it. I don't know what game it was that he'd said it about, but I've been saying it for a while now. Azur Promilia was a game that I was excited for. It was never my most anticipated game, but it kind of did a reverse thing to what happened with Duet Knights Abyss. I saw gameplay of DNA, and I was like, eh. And then I played it, and I was like, it's actually kind of fun. I'm gonna jump on this when it comes out. I'm looking forward to it. Azur Promilia kind of was opposite. I wasn't overly excited about it, but I was like, that actually looks really cool, and I think it's going to be successful. And I do think it's going to be successful. Then we started to see more gameplay. I was like, oh, this does look, and I hate to be that guy constantly, but it kind of looks like Genshin, but a little bit faster paced and flashier. A modern version, right? And again, it just goes back to that rotation-based combat. And I'm worried because this is a space, this subgenre of gacha has really been advancing since Genshin, right? That was a game that showed that scope, scale, investment could have massive returns. You could have cutscenes, you could have voice acting, and you could really level things up. It was a game that could be mistaken for a proper game. Not to insult gacha games in that sense, but we went from predominantly mobile games to a game that's a mobile game, but looks like a console game, looks like a PC game. It's looking a little bit long in the tooth now. And then we got Wuthering Waves, which is another game that looks even more impressive visually, and is more, really, when you think about it, a PC/console game that just happens to be on mobile. And we're seeing with the Anata, the specs, like these games are really stepping up. But my worry is we've got so many cool games that have so much potential to be amazing, and I'm sure they'll be fine, but they're just doing the same thing. And we're really missing out on an opportunity to have some really fun experiences that feel unique, that feel different, and that are memorable, rather than it all kind of just becoming the same beige, right? It being the battle royale spree over again. Remember when PUBG dropped and Fortnite dropped, and then everybody and their dog wanted to make a battle royale game, and most of them were shit, right? And these developers could have probably created some really cool stuff, but they were chasing the dragon. And I'm worried in the gacha space that a lot of these companies are doing this. They could be doing something a little bit more. They saw what Genshin did. They're seeing what Wuthering Waves are doing, and they're like, yes, that's going to work. Now, hopefully, my hope in the darkness, the light in the darkness, right, is that Duet Knights Abyss have gone, you know what, we're going to move away from this. Anata, I don't know if that ever was a gacha game in terms of the characters. I know it looks like, according to Styx, which is the man in the know, it's got car gacha and cosmetic gacha. But who knows? I've got a feeling that it probably was a little bit more character based, right? In regards to the gacha. From the first stuff we saw, it feels like that's what it was a little bit more. I feel like they were smart. These two companies have gone, this is going to get incredibly hectic. This is going to be super competitive over the next couple of years. Let's maybe try and separate ourselves, right? Let's change the monetization. Let's change our approach. The big testing ground now will be how successful they are, right? If both of these games manage to do well, it's going to make other companies think, okay, there's a different way to do this. Now, obviously, it depends on the design of the game from the ground up. It'll be easier, much easier for some companies to switch into a different monetization system, because when you go from being a gacha game, it really does change quite a lot of core elements of the game in terms of the gameplay loop. They kind of have to change because everything kind of facilitates the new unit and building units in a specific way, all to try and push you and groom you into wanting to pull, right? And that's a separate conversation, but it's quite fundamental, I think, to a lot of these games, the way they're designed. So they have to take a different route, I think. And I don't know if it's going to be too late for a lot of these games, maybe the next wave, but that's a worry though, right? It's like some of these games look really cool, and I'm just worried they're going to be very samey. I don't know. I'd like to know, are you guys feeling the same way? Hey, do you have rotation-based combat fatigue? Maybe you don't yet, but with another 4-5 games, NTE, Silver Palace, Azur Promilia, Rewinding Cadence, Project 2/3, all doing a similar kind of combat, and there's other games that I don't even remember, you're probably going to have it then, right? You're probably going to be thinking, damn, man, this game could have done something different, and it's a shame it didn't. And I just kind of wanted to talk about that with you guys, because I'm a little worried about it, right? I was super excited, and I still am. There's just this nagging feeling that's saying a lot of these games are going to kind of feel the same. They're going to kind of feel the same. But yeah, I'm excited for Anata. I'm incredibly excited for Enfield. I'm excited for Chaos Zero Nightmare, although the gacha system looks a bit fucking shit. Silver Palace, Azur Promilia, Rewinding Cadence, Project 2/3, NTE. I'm going to try them all. I hope that they do enough to separate themselves, right? And I hope the industry doesn't homogenize in an attempt to chase a particular kind of gameplay loop, because it's been super successful, hyper successful, right? I don't blame companies for doing that, but I hope we don't stagnate in terms of advancement, right? I hope we have innovation that can try new things, not just in the gacha systems. We're seeing some games try some stuff. NT are trying things. Enfield are doing something different. DNA have switched it off altogether. Ananta are going cosmetic gacha route by the looks of things. These are changes that are great, right? Hopefully they're successful. But I'd love to see systems within the games change as well. How we farm, how we grind, and how we fight as well. I hope that we see some difference. I understand if you've got character gacha, it's easy to kind of create this, well, we want everybody interacting with each other, and then you create a meta, and that makes people pull for characters. I get it. There's other ways, though, surely. And I just hope we see that innovation. But anyway, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I'd love to know what you think down below about this whole situation. I'm going to have a new mic soon as well, so if the mic sounds trash again, I do apologise, guys. It's bad at the moment. I'm getting a pop filter for this for the time being, and I'm kind of looking around to get a new mic. If anybody's got any suggestions, let me know. As long as it's not an XLR. It needs to be USB, because I don't have a setup for that at the moment, and I honestly can't be arsed to do it. I don't mind one that's got the ability to go XLR in the future if I switch it up. But yeah, anyway, I digress. Guys, let me know what you think down below. If you've enjoyed the video, if you're worried about the future of the gacha games in this regard, I'd love to know. Drop a like on the video, subscribe. I'll see you all in the next one. Jera.